Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Vote, please.
You have the speaker on, right?
I do now.
Okay. Barbara Little? Here. Larry Nagy?
Here.
David Villalobos?
Present.
Lester Caper is absent. Norm Sick?
Here.
William Fisher?
Here.
Todd Wilkeney?
Here.
Carl Brittingham is, there you are. Nick Meyer is absent. Bob Carnahan?
Here.
Julia Rivera is absent. David Austin?
Present. Public comment? Once? Twice? 3 times? Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes of Wednesday, June 26, 2024. Have a motion? Larry made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Barb seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Barbara Little? Yes. Larry Nagy?
Yes.
David Villalobos?
Yes.
Norm Stick?
Yes. Okay, your presentation of Sounds of Sarah.
Yes, board members, on, June 18th at the council meeting, we presented Miss Patty Stovall, who was in the audience. If you'd like to come up so you can say a few things, a certificate. Miss Stovall donated through the Sounds of Sarah a naloxone box that is now currently out in front of the station. It has Narcan on it for any public person that has an issue with a family member or someone that has substance abuse to reverse the effects of the Narcan, of narcotics, for opioid. The Sounds of Sarah was created after, unfortunately, her daughter passed away from this, and she has been providing these to many communities in northern Indiana, at least I know of right now, but I think it's getting bigger. So we wanted to present her to you guys to show what she's done. We've actually had a conversation just a little bit ago. She's going to provide us another one for the station up, the new station. So we'll have 2 locations of naloxone available to the public, and we have a refill. So you know, if it gets used, all we do is just go back and refill it up. So
Terrific, terrific. Fantastic.
if you have any questions for her.
It's certainly a noble gesture, and it's really appreciated.
I lost my daughter in 2021 to a fentanyl poisoning. I started my organization a year later. We've distributed over 10,000 Narcan in Lake County. I placed the naloxone vending machine in Griffith. We're the only vending machine that we have here in Lake County. But I also purchased naloxone boxes that we are distributing within Lake County as well. I am a distributor here, so we make sure that we have naloxone on hand at all times for everyone. We provide training as well, but we also make sure that families have the resources that they need and understand this opiate epidemic that's affecting our country. Since we have lost over 112,000 individuals last year to this epidemic, and so it's important that we make sure that our community is well aware of the resources that are available, and as well as to make sure that people are well educated. Our organization also provides training to youth. We are certified through Overdose Lifeline, which is part of Indianapolis. That's where we get our naloxone. If you look at what's in your box there, that comes from Overdose Lifeline. So, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Well, thank you for taking such a tragic event and making a positive out of it. But when you say, like, for the training, is that for you guys or for the people who need, like...
It's for everyone.
Like, they're in that group and they just need to be trained?
It's for everyone.
Okay.
And I believe that every one of you in this room should carry naloxone, teenagers, everyone, because we do have a law in our state called the Aaron Law that we can administer to anyone. that we may think that is having an overdose to an opioid. We could save someone's life. You can administer to a newborn, to a pet, to anyone. It won't hurt them at all. It's a nasal spray, and everyone should carry it. It's like something you should have in your first aid kit. Because fentanyl is in everything, and a lot of these young people don't even know today that it could be in everything. So it's important that we educate our community, our youth, I'm educating our construction workers on their job sites, that it should be on their job sites, and everyone should have it. Everyone should carry it.
Thank you again.
So if you recall, about 4 years ago, we started having fentanyl overdoses from emergency service responders because it was airborne. The fentanyl was actually becoming airborne, and they were causing the EMS and the firefighters and police to overdose and not even be in contact with it. So since that point, our department has carried naloxone now, or the Narcan on each officer, and anytime they use it, they just can come get a refill, a brand new one. But this is new, and now we got it for the public, which is really nice with zero cost to us. If you'd like to visit their website, it's soundsofsarah.org, and you can see more information about her program and what she's doing. So,
Patty, do you have a social media site too?
I do on
Okay.
Facebook, yes, we do.
Okay.
I work closely with the DEA.
Is it Sounds of Sarah Facebook wise? Okay.
I work closely with the DEA. I also work closely in Washington with their DEA as well, with their family summit, and we do educate across the country, so I travel as well. But this is not only about addiction. This is about young kids and mental health, getting the services that they need. They think that they can take something today, and they can't. This is not about just trying something. Back in the day we could, and today they cannot, because they don't know what's in there today.
Any questions, comments?
Thank you for your efforts, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Very
very much.
sorry for your loss.
I'll let you know when we get up there, and we'll get that other box and
Absolutely.
post it as well. So
I'm sure he does.
if you
Probably.
see on the packet you got, you can see the picture that we took that we posted online with Patty when we installed it and put the packets up. So it's right in the lobby where it's open 24/7 of the town hall. Not in the police side, not in the town side. It's in the town, the public area, so they can grab it. Every day we go by and look to see if it's got anything missing, and if it is, we just refill it. So,
Right there by the sliding door, by the
yep,
website.
right by the sliding door.
Thank you for what you
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
again. Vips?
Hello, everyone. In front of you have the June 2024 FIPS hours. We're going to be made hours, and we had 2 call-outs, 2 accidents, and 5 details, 2 being meetings, Cherville Pest Assist and Microsoft, or Bush's Run, K9 for heroes. Detail.
Any questions for his report? As always, thank you very much for your services.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The VIPS policy will be also one you guys will be looking at. We're going to amend it a little bit to change it to percentages versus so much per month. So we had a meeting before the board meeting. So, but you guys will see that next couple of months. We'll have it in front of you.
Percentages to what?
For the members to make so many calls per year.
Oh, okay,
Percentages.
gotcha.
Versus making 16 hours a month, making the amount of detail calls and details and what's the other one? Call-outs.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Police Department, communications.
We received another Lexipol plaque, silver plaque from Lexipol. It says, on behalf of the team here at Lexipol, I'd like to offer our congratulations on your achievement in the online training as part of the Lexipol Connect Reconnection program. To highlight your dedication to public safety, educational excellence, we're happy to present you with this plaque to your department to showcase your success this past year. To share this accomplishment with you and your staff and community, please reference the Connect recognition program media kit email that we received. If you have any questions on the program, we can visit Lexipol, but we are honored to partner with your agency and assist the important work of your department protecting your community. So we have 2 of them now. We're going to put them up at the new station once we get approval to move in. So
You can't put holes in the drywall.
not yet. We don't own it yet. So we received a letter from Summerfest. Thank you so much for participating in the 42nd Cedar Lake Summerfest. With your help, we're able to showcase our community and provide an amazing event for our residents and visitors. As always, your services of supervising the grounds and surrounding areas provide the attendees a safe venue. We're grateful you are on hand for the fireworks both nights on the lake. In addition, your department is always a big hit in the land parade. We appreciate the communication and guidance throughout the fest, from lost children, parking and traffic, etc. We're looking forward to having a meeting with all involved agencies. You will be notified after our meeting on July 24th of the date and time. So that has actually been scheduled for the 29th at the Chamber of Commerce building. So myself and the patrol commander will go over there and sit with them and see if there's anything we can improve for Summerfest for next year. But all in all, it was a good turnout.
Okay.
One more, sorry, sir. We received a card from the Can family. It says, thank you so much for your beautiful flower arrangement and garden stone in memory of our loved one, which was Deputy Chief Sunkel, passed away. So it was very nice to receive that card from the family, from what we sent them. So.
Okay. We'll move on to number 5, finances.
You received the purchase orders or our expenditure report for the month. Let me know if you have any questions on anything.
Any questions? Bronze plaques, memorial benches, what is it?
So we have those 2 benches that are being placed out by the memorial, what's that thing called? Right here that the council is now thinking about moving. What's that called out there?
The sundial out there?
Sundial.
The sundial, yeah. So we bought 2 benches in honor of Sergeant Wood, who passed away, and Jason Dees, who passed away. In honor of them, they were donated by CORE. They paid for the benches, but the plaque for their donated by didn't get included, so we just picked up the tab and had it engraved. So the particular metal that we use is one of those that's all weather and will never have to be replaced. So it was a little bit more costly, but we got it done. We're hoping to have that with their families, the dedication coming soon, but because the town is talking about moving that, I'm not sure when we should do it, so.
And it's suggested that it'll be moved from where it is now up to where the gazebo was.
Right, so if that's the case, I mean, I'm sure we could still have it and do it, but we'll see. Our goal was to have it done this month, but there's been a lot going on, so.
Okay, and then black vest carriers, that's a pretty big one. How many carriers did you get?
Say that one more time?
Razor 2 black vest carrier with tails?
That's the bulletproof vest.
That's our vests, yeah.
One new one and 4 replacements.
Yeah.
5-year replacements.
Okay, so
Half
the-
of that'll get covered by the federal grant.
Okay.
I've already submitted.
And the new carrier itself is for the new officer.
Okay,
So we buy the first one and then they have to replace them thereafter.
very good.
Any more questions?
No, thank you, I appreciate it. You also received a copy of our summertime overtime report. We had a total of 200, I think it was a total of actually 205 hours, or I'm sorry, 201 hours for the 4 days. It was very, very busy. And there was a breakdown in there so you can see that as well if you had any questions on that. We spent about $10,400 in overtime in 4 days, so. But we knew it was coming, so it was budgeted for it, so. Safe Coalition, we received, I think I told you this last month, we received a grant from the Safe Coalition for $5,000. Can be used towards anything drugs or alcohol related. So we're going to probably put on some TAC nights and drug interdiction stuff potentially in the next couple of months for overtime for officers to go out and try to get some good arrests. And then the remaining funds from the NIPSCO grant, remember we got that last year. Part of it was for the program that we held last weekend, which I'll talk about in a second, for the gun safety program, as well as some firearms training stuff. We're getting all that stuff ordered for the new firearms training program.
Okay, staffing.
So I received a letter of resignation from Officer Kamstra this morning. Mr. Stick and Mr. Caper had the opportunity to do an exit interview with them, so I just need you to approve his letter of resignation.
Motion to approve Officer Kamstra's letter of resignation.
Motion to approve.
Second? Roll call vote, please.
Who seconded it?
I did.
Barbara Little,
Yes.
Larry Nagy,
Yes.
David Villalobos.
Yes.
Norm Stick.
Yes.
Board, I also would like to move forward and get your approval to start the perf process for our number 2 guy on the list, which was Randall Lukasik. I need you to send the letter, or get a letter sent to the board, the council to offer the employment, the conditional offer of employment.
We need to have a conversation as far as if we want to go with another rookie, or if we want to move forward with advertising a month for a regular officer to fill this position. What's your feelings on that?
I would prefer that we go with the rookie, because we've had many transfers in the last couple of years, and every one of them keep leaving.
So what's your feeling as far as covering the road?
What do you mean?
Well, we're down, we have the third officer is he in school yet?
No.
Okay, then we got the second officer that is doing investigator work, he's not on the road, and then we're losing Brad Kamstra, so.
We still have four members on each crew, so we're holding in that, and we get them rehired. I had a budget meeting this week, and it looks like they will at least let me hire the new one I'm supposed to get for 2025. Of course, that's still pending any approval, so we're still moving forward there.
So I'm gonna ask each individual, what's your opinion on whether to go ahead with and have another rookie, or to advertise a month for a qualified patrolman. David, what's your feelings?
So if we hire Luke Kasich, when is he up and running on the road? How long?
He will get going. It'll probably take us about a month and a half for perf process. We'll get his paperwork done, then we'll get his uniforms once he's approved, get him sworn in, probably guesstimating October. He'll start FTOing from October through December, go to the academy in January, and be on the road by May.
And,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Do you feel like you have enough officers to support that 6-month period without slamming them overtime?
So when's,
Don't get me wrong, I'd love to have more, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
so when's the officer that we, and I can't remember his name, when is he?
Milan, he'll be
Yes.
done in November for the academy.
He's
on the
in the
road.
academy now?
Yeah, he starts Monday.
Starts Monday,
He did his entrance for the academy this last Monday, and they start the academy on Monday.
so what's your opinion?
Who's the number 1 on the list?
Milan,
I
we
think
hired.
that if he feels like he's got enough
Yeah.
officers to maintain, you've got December, you're gonna have a little change, you're gonna have someone come on, which will help. If he feels that he's got enough people to do it, I'm okay with it.
So Larry, what's your opinion?
Yeah, very deep mixed emotions. Because all we gotta do is have a full-timer go down, which happens, you know. And I know what you're saying about people that transfer over and transfer in.
We have had good success though with other officers
Right.
coming here.
New officers, yeah, the success rate for transfers is, we've had it only a couple unfortunately, but. And if we ran into a blind, then I would put my investigator back on the road, he knows that, so.
If,
The road comes first, so we would cover the road no matter what.
what if, when he gets out of the academy, then how long can he, before he can be turned loose?
I think he's got a month left. I think he was just finishing phase 2, so he's probably got a month left of It'd be a little, get used to it again, right? You've been off the road for a couple of months in the academy, but they have much more knowledge on what they need to do.
So then he goes back to riding along with you?
Yeah, for about a month, I think what he's got left in his FTO process.
So theoretically, you could have him on the road in October?
Middle of December.
Middle of December?
Yeah, the academy ends November 15th.
Oh,
And that's if he passes?
The academy?
Yeah.
Like, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't know how he does in that environment.
Yeah, yeah.
and you've got approval to hire,
I've got pre-approval to hire a new one next year. It was in the sustainability project, but that doesn't mean that the council's gonna approve it, but it's the start of it. We also have the open spot for, Mr. Corbin, went into the schools. We received 75% of his funding back from the schools, and I've been in conversation with them for the last 4 months to try to fill that position. I'm just waiting for approval from the council well, it's gotta go through Jen first, that she says yes, and then we can bring it in front of you guys and start the process, but I have not been given the go-ahead yet, so,
How old is Ed McKissick?
38,
And what's the maximum they can be to get hired?
40.
So his window is short.
where is he working now?
He's a 150 operator, I believe.
Why?
He was a reserve with us for a while,
Okay.
and which we learned in the interview process with him. But he's always had a love for law enforcement, and he worked in the 150, and he just heard we were hiring again, and he's like, I'm gonna go for it. So that's what he did.
Who's he related to?
His brother's a St. John sergeant, former Cedar Lake officer.
We did ask, I remember that now, and we did ask him the gigantic difference in the pay rate between what he's making now and what, and he said he was good now. He said he was good with it, because we did ask him that question.
Was Keemstra subject to the contract stipulation?
He was certified when he came here, so yeah, he's got the bottom section of the contract, so he would owe $3,500 from his exit, but with his sick time and PTO time, I think he's worked something out with the clerk, where it won't be anything, needed to be paid for. I think, that's between the clerk and him,
I like
that's
the
not
fact
me.
that he wants to come back.
him that.
Okay.
Pardon?
I like the fact that he was here before and wants to come back.
Counsel? Yeah.
Okay, chief says he's good with hiring a new guy and riding it through, and this guy's got a short window, I'll be comfortable with it.
Okay, so a motion to hire Randall Lukasik,
I'll make that motion.
second,
Yeah, I'll second it.
roll call vote?
Barbara Little,
Yes.
Larry Nagy,
Yes.
David Lovell,
Yes.
Norm Stick.
Yes.
So that's so I can send a letter to the council to start to get the approval for, what's that called? The,
Offer of employment?
yes, thank you, sir.
I would have had, if you'd have had the letter, I'd have signed it tonight.
I will make sure it's available this next week. So I'll get a hold of you, and I'll bring it to you, or if you come down this way.
And remember, if this doesn't work, it's on you.
Yes, sir. Well, it's always on me anyway, so.
Okay, other staffing update.
As I previously stated, Mr. Milan, or Officer Milan, completed his entrance testing on Monday, passed with no problem, and he starts the academy this coming Monday. He will be graduating on November 15th. Graduation takes place at Valparaiso University's,
Chapel.
at a church chapel. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7, training report.
I apologize, I'm not finished there. Close though, sir. Sorry about that. So the Too Good for Drugs program, we have, I've talked to the council, and they are in agreement to let me proceed with presenting to them at the next council meeting for a part-time position, not police side, but as a town employee, for someone to be able to teach it for us because we don't have anybody to teach the Too Good for Drugs program. So we came up with a job description that we're going to present to the council. I had an executive session with them, when was that, Bob? The 16th, right? I think it was the last one, for about 20 minutes, just presented as an idea what they thought. And what it is if you recall, our intern, Mona Garcia, she was actually trained in it with us during her internship. And she's going to do it on her off time, teach the Too Good for Drugs program in the school on behalf for the town for a stipend, which still will cost us nothing because we receive $5,000 to teach it. So we're going to pay her a stipend, and I'm going to present it to the council, and hopefully they approve that, but we'll know at the next council meeting. So.
And that only covers Hanover, it doesn't cover...
Yeah, Crown Point's still in, Crown Point's, I presented it to Crown Point, but their DARE officer is a board member, so he's not leaving DARE. And Crown Point, I asked them that if they wanted us to teach Too Good for Drugs, and they asked if they could have their DARE officer teach here because they wanted all of their schools to be taught the same thing. So I understood, I said this was a different route that we were going in, so yeah. And then, I'm sure you all saw the incident we had this last week in Cedar Lake with the storm that came through. We did utilize our EAP program and had 2 different sessions with those that were involved in the incident to help them out. So.
What was the feedback on it?
Okay, good. I think they were, you know how cops are, so most of the time they're like, oh, I'm good, chief, don't need anything, so, but I made them go. So, I can't give you any feedback yet because I don't know.
Okay.
They actually had theirs today, so.
Okay.
The fire chief might be able to, though, his staff came to the last one, so.
So you also had Public Works help you too?
Yeah, we invited them, but they were...
I'm talking on the incident.
They said they were good. We invited them to the EAP as well, but they didn't want to come down, so.
That's why you gotta order them, because they need it.
I agree. So, it's new. This is a new program to everybody, so it's gonna take some getting used to. You know, old school people are like, you know, rub some dirt on it, keep moving forward, but we're learning that we need to at least give them an outlet and an ability to talk about it, so, yeah, it went pretty good. They were still talking when I came in here, so.
Very good.
Okay, moving on to number 7, training report.
You got a copy of our training report for the month of June. And the 2 Gates Code Instructor Development, Tactical Street Crimes class, Firearms Instructors training, crime scene training, and SWAT, which is pretty standard. Any questions?
Questions? Training report. Okay, move on to number 8, equipment.
We picked up our 4 new vehicles today. They're here at the town, and we're going to be taking them up to PBS tomorrow to drop them off, which will still take about 8 to 10 weeks to get them back for the upfit. So.
What are they?
They're Durangos.
Just cars or SUVs?
SUVs.
Okay.
And we had talked about prompting the officers with the transmission problems, check that issue with every...
The oil cooler. Yeah.
Like the state police, I read that in the state police.
The big thing with the state police is they're on the highway, so when theirs goes out, they're already driving.
Right.
We've had 2 in all of our Durangos. We had 2, but we caught them, and it's just the oil cooler change. But unfortunately, they're back ordered right now. So mine was replaced already, and we're getting 43s replaced. So luckily, being around town, it's not as bad. But the state police are on the highway,
Right.
so theirs go out, they don't even know it. They're
Right.
driving and they'll lock the motor up. So.
And James Auto is doing that?
Yes, sir. And we bought the vehicles from James Auto as well.
Is that all with the equipment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, number 9, monthly activity report.
So you got a copy of our monthly activity report. You can see we had 1,169 calls for service for the month. We had 508 traffic stops for the month. We had 529 warnings issued. We had 206 citations issued. And we had a total of 679 law calls for the month. We had 18 arrests with 31 charges. On the ordinance side, you can see for the month of June, we issued down to 49 ordinance warnings for the month, and we issued 89 ordinance citations for the month. We also had monthly activity. We had Corporal Presti, our reserve officer, did a community outreach program for firearm safety program that took place on July 20th. It was a success. He had 12 people in attendance. Did about an hour presentation on firearm safety and how to properly secure a firearm and install the free cable locks that we gave them. Each participant received 2 cable locks in the literature. We had 100 locks that were donated from Project Safe Child, and we still have them remaining here in our records clerks. So if any public wants a gun lock, they can come get it for free. We did provide some refreshments and materials that was also funded by the NIPSCO or NISORS grant, so it was very good.
I heard a report that there was a house shot up in town somewhere. What can you tell us?
That it's under investigation.
Okay.
The reports are correct.
Okay, we'll move on to number 10, Alexa Paul.
Alexa, well, this is policy 1102. This is the one that we've had several discussions on, and we'll see that you have 2 separate policies there. One says 1102-1 CLPD request, one says 1102 Board of Safety. The Board of Safety, 1102 was recommended by Mr. Villalobos, was advised what we wanted. He advised me to put the 2 separate ones out of what I am requesting and one that was decided upon by your meetings. I will say this.
David, would you like to take that over, please? Do you have your paperwork? Let's hear the chief say what he has to say.
Sure. I don't believe that the investigative position should be decided by an interview from the Board of Safety. I think that's something that should be selected by the Chief of Police, whoever that person may be, because the chief sees their day-to-day actions, their day-to-day operations, the things they do, how they operate, how they deal with the public, and you can't tell that in an interview. Unfortunately, not everything is always documented well, or not everything is always put where you can see whether it's going to be a good investigator or not, and we can see that because we deal with them every single day. So I think that it's better that it stays in the hands of the chief of whoever it might be, whether it's me or whoever in the future versus the Board of Safety. So, go ahead, Chief.
Okay, so when we're interviewing for a promotion position to Corporal Sergeant, the chief recommends to the board a list of candidates. We go through them, we interview them, and then we make a decision who's going to get it. But we're taking the recommendation from the chief. This is a similar situation. We're just taking this position of investigator. The chief will give us a list of people who are interested. We'll interview them. It'll be the 5 of us making a decision as opposed to the chief alone. That's the flip side.
And I would like to point out that it still would be stated under the recommendation of the chief with the ratification of the safety board. So it still would be, like David stated, it would still be, you know, your recommendation, like with other promotions is, you know,
Well,
you have that.
Yeah, promotions definitely fall under your purview, and I mean, because there's money involved, money exchange change. So anytime there's anything where money's involved, promotional-wise, you guys have to say so in that. Obviously, take my recommendation, but it's still up to you guys. In this case, there's no money. It's only a schedule change and an outfit change. But that's my recommendation.
So, number 1 and which one's number 1 and number 2?
Number 1 is my request, number 2 is yours.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept number 1 or number 2? Shouldn't we?
I have one question.
Okay, go ahead.
So, a minute ago, what we were talking about, you looked at him and said, if this doesn't work out, then it's on you, with the new hire officer.
No, I was teasing.
So, I know, I'm just kind of going back to that. What happens if we hire the wrong person?
Well,
Let's say he gives the recommendation and we're like, no, don't want him. What about, I want this one over here? Theoretically.
Well,
What happens then?
as in the
Is he
past,
stuck with him?
no, as in the past, when we go to make promotions or anything, we look at their files. We basically examine them, and it would be the same difference with, when you review their files, it tells the whole story. Some of them, you can weigh their files, and some of them have 2 pages in there. So, and you talk about it. I mean, there's no such thing as a sure thing. If it didn't,
I've owned business for, I'm sorry, I've owned a business for 20 years, and I gotta tell you, I've hired some people, and, it's not
So-
100% true for me.
I'm not
For me.
sure if I get what you said, what happens if you make the wrong
If we
decision.
make the decision, we make the wrong decision, he's the one that's gotta deal with it.
Well, that would go
So-
across the board when we hire people or when we promote people, that's the same thing.
Okay, but what happens if it's the wrong person for the position? Does he just get stuck with it?
No, not necessarily.
I would have to bring it back in front of you.
He comes
You would have
up
to
and
make a
says, hey, it's
decision,
just
and
not working.
you would have to make a decision if what I'm saying is accurate and whether or not you want to keep them there versus me being able to take someone out of position because they're not doing their job and moving on, so.
Actually take some pressure off of him, because
I-
we gotta make the
yeah,
decision that he would be demoted.
Yeah,
And he would be
I see it
returned to
both
his
ways.
previous status, his previous.
Right, that I
So he
do.
won't lose
I just-
anything.
yeah.
Give him a try. If it doesn't work out, the chief will present a case. This guy's not fitting in this position, he's not excelling, we can train him, he's not taking it, and present that to us, and we can unappoint him and go through the process all over.
Okay.
It's not really permanent.
I'm just making sure nobody's getting stuck with something that's not flowing.
Unfortunately, the possibility is there. And
Oh, it
the
is.
question is, what she's asking is true, right? The possibility is there that someone that I recommend to be put in that position could not get it, and someone else could. That is absolutely true. Because the recommendation now is on me versus me making the appointment. That's the bad part about that, is that you may like someone else just because you have a good rapport with that person and you think that they're a good person and this and that, but that doesn't mean that they'll be a great investigator. And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't mean any of them are until we give them a shot at it, but you can see certain things in people when they're working the road, whether or not that's something that they will excel at, right? Carl's a great example of that. You can see that early on when he was a patrolman, that he will excel in the investigative position because of how he handled cases when he was on the road as a patrolman. But others can interview very well. Just because you can interview well doesn't mean you can handle the job or do the job very well. Well, if it comes to this, we might be put in a position where you put someone in that position that is not someone that I recommended.
But
Now I
everybody that
have-
we would look at would come from your recommendation.
I'm not denying that.
So if
But
you're
it's
picking,
still
if you send us 2 recommendations, you should be happy with either one that,
No, that's not the process. The process they're saying here is everybody would be interviewed with you, not us picking ones and bringing them to you with the recommendation.
And this goes back to my initial thing, what I said about this before, is I know for a fact, owning a business, I have interviewed people that interviewed exceptionally well, and then you get them in there and you're like, okay, that's not what happened in there, so what do we do now? And the file, like you said, one can be a light file and one can be heavy with complaints. People go through stuff, they change, you see them over a course of 10, 15, 20 years, they change, they do things, they grow. So I get what you're saying, but I don't 100% agree
It's
with
not a
that.
permanent position,
Yeah.
it's just a lateral.
Yeah.
He can make the same mistake, at least this way, you've got 5 people plus him looking at it.
All we're doing is adding one step. If the chief promotes a guy on his own, as this process is now, and the guy doesn't work out, he just unappoints him, move him back. So now we're just adding us as one more level of scrutiny for the
So
position.
in this process, would you interview every candidate then, or would you just talk to the one that I recommend?
Every candidate, yes.
And that's the issue there,
That's the
because
problem.
someone could interview very well
No, it's not.
and not be a good
You
candidate.
have to
And if it doesn't work out, we could reverse the decision.
Recommendations when we-
Which
Just
we've had-
one extra step.
Which we've had to do with hires, and we recommended not to hire, and we hired them and gave them a shot. And unfortunately, you're right, Dave, there's times when you can, right? You don't see it, right? It just happens. I just don't think that this is a good thing for the police department. I
If
think-
somebody came in my, I don't mean to interrupt you, if somebody
Sorry.
came in my place of business and was interviewing people for me, I can see the dilemma from a boss standpoint. That's all.
If you had a board of directors in your business, they would have a say. You have a private business, you're the boss. But if you had a board of directors to answer to, like he does, that's us.
Yeah, I know.
There is an extra level of scrutiny.
I get that, I respect that.
Any further comments, questions? Okay, motion, number one is, the chiefs, and number two would be what you was, reporting on, David. Motion to, accept one or two.
I'm gonna go with the Board of Safety version, number 2. I'm gonna make a motion that we adopt that policy, and see how it runs, and we can do it later. So my motion is to adopt the version 2, 1102, version 2 Board of Safety policy.
Second that. Roll call vote?
Barbara Little,
Nope.
Larry Nagy,
Yes.
David Villalobos,
Yes.
Norm Stick.
Yes. Motion carried. Okay, now we're going to policy 1120, the overtime compensation. Last month, the chief, go ahead, chief, if you'd repeat that, please, if you'd like, if not.
What would you like me to say, sir? We removed the
Well, I mean,
two-hour
it's-
call-out policy and went to a
Well,
30-minute.
it was kind of last month that you felt that you wanted to break up the, what is it, show-up time, 2 hours?
So I requested to remove the 2-hour call-out policy and break it up into 30-minute increments because of some issues that we were having, and to try to correct that. I know that I know that the officers were upset about that, but they were continuing to do those certain things that I felt it was the right thing to do. I can tell you that I had a conversation with some officers before you guys voted on it, and we were in discussion, having conversations about what could be maybe a better route. But I wanted to go this route first to start, and that's what it is. So I got notified by Mr. Keeper, or Mr. Stick, I think it was last Wednesday, that you wanted this put back on, because you said you were blindsided with it, and so it's back on for you to make a determination on what you want to do.
So we've had conversations amongst ourselves, and it was felt that this issue needed further research.
Okay.
So,
I'm okay with it going back. We can put it back.
you know, at this time, a motion to reinstate this until the chief can do further research.
Okay, so we adopted the policy, and it's official policy now, where we're doing 30-minute increments. It's 30 minutes, right, minimum?
Right.
And until we reverse it, that's the way it's gonna be.
Well, that's why we're
Okay.
doing the motion now.
Okay, so let me just read this one line here. Supervisor's responsibilities. Supervisors shall, prior to authorizing an employee to work overtime, evaluate the need for overtime. Supervisors should not authorize any request to work overtime if the overtime would not be an appropriate use of department resources. So, if we rely heavily on this portion of the policy, you go back to the 2-hour increments for a call-out and rely on the supervisor to approve it when it's necessary and not approve it when it's not. And that would reduce any abuse of the policy. I think we have to rely heavily on our supervisors to prevent any abuse if we go back to a 2-hour minimum for a call-out.
Can I ask the chief a question?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
On the canine deal, if he's got the dog with him and he's driving through Lowell and they call for a canine, now, he would get paid, if he responded there, he would get paid 2 hours, correct?
Minimum, yeah.
I have a problem with him responding to that without him being in uniform and because too many times, you're always hollering about crossfire, you're hollering about not being recognized, not blah, 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 you know.
Well, he's still required to wear his vest that identifies him with his badge, and it says police canine on the back, so he's still required to have that on him.
Before he could respond.
Yeah.
Okay,
Supposed to
so
have
there
that.
is identification on
Yeah,
him.
Yes, he needs to
He
be.
just can't roll up in his Corvette, okay, he just can't roll up in his
We
Corvette
actually-
and jump out with a
That's
dog.
correct. We actually require the officers to keep their extra vests in their car too.
Okay.
Okay, good to know.
Any further questions?
That was what I was concerned about.
Motion to reinstate the overtime policy?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to revert policy 1120, back where we had it, before we adopted the current policy. Let's go back to the 2-hour increments.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote?
Barbara Little? Yes. Larry Nagy?
Yes.
David Villalobos?
Yes.
Norm Stick?
Yes.
Can I make a comment?
You can.
And Bill, I know that there was conversations and so on and so forth, but none of my thoughts on this, because I came to you, they can call, I refused an officer the other day to talk to him. I said, friends, don't you bring, well, just give me a, no, we're friends, but we're not talking business.
I appreciate that.
No, whatever you want to do, but we're not talking business.
I appreciate it, thank you.
No, it's not right. So,
Okay. We'll revert the policy back.
Okay, number 11, others?
Nothing else, sir.
Okay, thank you. Fire Department, number 12, communications.
We received the same communication from Mary Jo in reference to the Summerfest and the police did a thank you. Other than that, I don't have any other communications.
Okay, bless you.
Thank you.
Number 13, finances.
You have a copy of our purchase orders
Here's
that you were able to review. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Everybody turn left.
Well, I'm just gonna lean left.
We're not, the things in there sideways,
Yeah,
not
it is.
everybody's went goofy up here.
We tried to figure out how to get that to go straight, and I'm even going like this.
It's all right.
And you can't, it's just the way it's down.
I need a good stretch from
We
the
need to
right side.
explain that to the people viewing on the.
It's gotta be scanned.
The actual report is instead of being like this, so you can read it, it's like this.
So the papers
I have
that
a
are,
paper copy.
the papers that
Yeah, that's
are,
the best way to do it, yeah.
hey Cheryl, those that are coming landscape, you have to turn them sideways when you scan them in, otherwise it does that.
Well, normally I do it like on the screen.
Yeah.
So it might not save it like that, I'm not
Oh,
sure.
you just do it from an email?
Mhm. Or maybe next time you can turn one.
We will,
So-
maybe we'll talk to Cliff or Tim and see if we can get that corrected for you.
Okay, so I'm looking at the top line here,
Crooked, looking at it.
and it says monthly coffee, $2,000. Is that what I'm reading?
Monthly coffee.
I'm reading, it says monthly coffee and supplies.
That's not it.
It says $2,000.
That's not it.
I can actually testify that I'm one of the few that drinks coffee down there, the young guys don't
The
drink
association
coffee.
buys the coffee for the fire.
Well, what is that line? What is that $2,000?
I'm trying to read it myself right now.
Says monthly coffee and miscellaneous supplies for
This is-
station.
It's the sugar and stirs?
So it could be miscellaneous
You go all the way to the
supplies.
right.
Yeah,
it says-
that's total with cleaning supplies,
It says all the way to
everything.
the right,
Yeah, if you
paper,
go all the way
the
to the right.
janitorial supply.
Janitorial supplies, everything is on that.
Okay, so it's not just coffee?
No.
And it does say Able Paper Janitorial Supplies.
Yeah. And that's about every quarter that we end up having them.
Okay, so now I see on here a 24-foot boat ramp. Tell us about that.
The current boat, our current boat, we had wrapped because it was so beat up and so tore up that we actually had a wrap put on it to protect it. The lettering was gone. I mean, the boat was in pretty rough shape.
That's a almost $2,800 expenditure. Thoughts? Thoughts? Any? Okay.
Sits on a hoist, it's gonna get beat up, it only goes out, and the wrap had to have some work done under it before it's, I don't understand.
I haven't seen it, but I do know they get banged up pretty bad, and I do know that the wrap can actually preserve it to whatever degree,
No.
but I didn't.
That's what we did. It was cleaned, and any surface area that was messed up on it was also repaired before it was wrapped.
And this, where did that money come out of, which
That kind of thing.
Equipment line,
equipment?
But
yeah.
either way, I didn't see it.
And were there bids taken for this?
No, it was the same company that we had been used that letters our vehicles.
Okay. Rope and supplies for the dive team. What were the supplies that cost so much?
I can't hear you, this thing is.
The supplies, the rope and supplies were $6,768. What were the supplies?
We had to replace our communication system and our masks for the dive team, because they were obsolete and or tore up and they were past their use.
Is that for, I was looking at the order, that's for 2 masks? Is that,
No, that was for, well, that was, it's a communication device now that it's wired instead of wireless. Our wireless system just totally took a dump. Now it integrates with the other teams in our area as well, because our teams had, we work with 4 other teams. So it needed to be upgraded. It was in bad shape. And the ropes are for tendering divers.
is that like the other ones, was they out of service, or did you replace?
Well, yeah, some of the rope, yeah, after a period of time, you gotta replace it. It's trash.
So-
It has a shelf life on it.
Yeah, that's the word
I think that's
looking for, yes.
Well, learned something right there, that's fantastic.
So, yeah, the dive equipment needed to get upgraded.
And what's the life expectancy on this dive?
7 to 8 years,
Okay.
depending on what parts of the equipment we're talking about.
How did it come about that we have a dive team?
1994, Larry, we started our dive team.
Good year.
I actually started it up for our department. When the Lake County Aquatics, at the time, had such a slow response time to be able to get to the Cedar Lake, we started our own at the time. My dad was the chief of that.
So, and we ran it out of the trailer.
Yeah. We still have the trailer. Well, we have the trailer, but we also have our rescue truck loaded with the equipment as well for quick response.
Okay. Do we still have jaws on that rescue truck?
We have, no.
Do we still have air packs on that rescue truck?
No. We have
So
all
it's
our
not-
special, we have, well, not just that, it has hazmat equipment on it, cribbing, light plant, all that stuff is on that truck still. It goes on crashes when it's needed, for lights, I should say. But the engines have light plants on them, and the engines carry rescue tools. So we don't have to take 2 trucks out there, just one. Any other questions on the purchases?
Barbara, you're looking sideways, you got any questions?
I apologize.
No, that's okay. Next time I want her to put one this way and one this way.
We'll work with
And
Cheryl
crush
to see if we
evenly.
can get that fixed next time.
I'll get it figured out.
Yeah.
This is a little exercise class,
Right,
stress class.
right, it's chair aerobic. What is accountability tags for firefighters?
The fire department has to have accountability tags for our firefighters. So when they go on the scene, they come to the incident commander, they give their tag up, so we know they're on the scene and we track them that way.
Okay.
So when they go into a structure fire, we know who's in there
Who's in there,
because the
exactly.
incident commander or the safety officer has their tags in their hands, and they don't get those tags back until they come and see us.
Okay, okay.
It's like on construction, it's called Branson in.
Yeah, same thing,
And
same thing.
when you leave, you better put that tag back on there.
It's the same thing.
They send out a whole rescue team, and you better not be sitting at home, because...
We use the tag system to where surrounding departments use a pretty elaborate computer system, but it's very expensive, so the tag system works just as good.
Okay.
What is universal lighting for $1,800?
That was, putting lights in the truck bays, updating them. We got a grant, and the match was $1,800 for replacing all the lights with LEDs, and we had 70% of our lights were starting to burn out.
How much of a grant did we get?
I think it was 10 grand, Larry. No, we didn't personally get it. It was through NIPSCO.
Oh, that NIPSCO deal.
Yes, and they just pay for that and say, this is your cost. For $1,800, we replaced all the lights in that station. So, yeah, the town hall did the same thing at the time, because Joe Murr originally set that up.
I did
just
just a shop.
Yeah, yeah. And it saves electricity on top of it, so.
Any other questions on 13? Is that what it was?
Well, I'm looking here at the overtime line. It says you're at 92% of your budget, and we're in July now. Well, what can you tell us?
The overtime was cut. And the built-in overtime is actually taken out of that line item as well.
So what's the plan for the rest of the year?
They're gonna have to make additional appropriations.
Council aware?
They are aware of it.
Okay. Well, that's enough of that.
Okay, no further questions. We'll move on to 14, I believe.
Current staffing.
Yes.
We have one firefighter waiting, or going, I'm sorry, let me restart. We have one applicant that is going through the CPAT testing process right now. That'll be the second position that we are approved to fill this year. I believe that he's going to be taking it here in the next week or so.
So we will call a special meeting to review the applicants that we have.
Okay,
And,
and also, to add to that, you guys all have applications in your packets, right? Okay. Those are the ones that have come in kind of recently, and we're just waiting. Norm said you would set up a meeting, so we're waiting for that to happen.
We're kind of waiting on the CPAT thing.
Okay, if that's the case, then that's fine.
Let us, and then we'll schedule a special meeting, and then we'll actually do an interview and then have a public meeting so we can get something, you know, to expedite it and get, you know, recommendations to the town council.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is that all on 14?
Yes, sir.
Okay, number 15, training report.
The training report, Chief Bonner did tell you guys that it wouldn't be available tonight because he got behind when I was off that week, so it wasn't, he didn't get. So he will have June's and July's ready in August. And there was additional trainings that were being done. To report on our two paramedics, our two EMTs that are in paramedic school. They're getting close. They should be ready to test right at the end of the year. And they're doing real good in class. They're maintaining between 80 and 95 average. So.
Very good.
We do have 3 to send next year, and in our budget meeting, we talked about budgeting for that. St. Anthony's is looking for a place to host a paramedic class. and I would like permission to use the new training center, or the new fire stations training center for next year, to host that class for up to 30 people. And with that, I'm going to request we get some scholarship positions out of that, so we can save the money on putting those 3 people through paramedic school, which is around $6,000 a piece now. So if we can work something out with St. Anthony's that they can host a class here in Cedar Lake with our people in it, and we get some free seats, I think it's a win-win for us.
So you'll kind of keep us updated on that?
Yeah, no, as soon as I get any dialogue with them back to me, I will forward everything to you.
Okay. Equipment 16?
Equipment, we've had some repairs done to some of the apparatus. You'll see some of the bills on some of the equipment. Nothing, the only major is the township truck, and the township did help us with offset some of those costs. You know, we had a few issues with that truck as well.
What's kind of going on with that truck?
Well, the window don't roll down in it. We did have a leak, a antifreeze leak, I believe, and then, I think that's it. I think there was maybe some brake work done that day. I was off that day, so.
Well, I was there when they had it jacked up, and the rear brakes needed to be done, and it had a cracked spring.
Yeah.
And I think
that work got done when I was on my vacation 2 weeks ago, so.
Okay.
Chief Munger handled that as well, so.
Monthly activity report?
You have that monthly activity report. It wasn't in there, but it is now.
Did I skip a, didn't we talk about equipment?
I thought
We
you
did.
What is the status on the new truck?
Oh,
Which new truck, Larry, are you talking
The
about?
one that
The
you-
engine?
The one that's ordered out in Ohio?
We haven't got a recent status on it, other than we've talked to them about it getting ready to go into production. That's about it.
What is getting ready to go into production?
It's gonna go on the line to start being built. It was in,
Did you actually, because there's a committee that has been formed, or the Council of Affairs, and myself and you and Charlie,
Kevin Phil.
that we have to meet, but it's been brought to our attention that the engine that would be coming in the Suffin truck is going to be outdated. So a decision which the outdated engine is a 9, and then they have an 11, and then they have a 12. Well, as per fire services, the 12 is the preferable one, because if we, end up.
Are you talking about the X10, or was that?
There's a 9, a 10, and a 12.
Okay,
Okay, the 12 is the preferable one.
okay.
And since we're buying this truck for 20 years, for the people 20 years down the road, we want to give them the best option. So we're going to have to figure out as soon as possible with the Suffin truck, and we're going to have to go ahead with the better engine option, because right now, if it comes online, it's going to be built with the engine that's being discontinued.
Did you see the email that was sent from Suffin? I sent it to all of you
I don't
guys.
think I got that.
Suffin responded to our, Chief Munger got a hold of Suffin after that council meeting and asked a whole bunch of questions, and he responded back. I thought he forwarded that to you. Like I said, I was off that week, so
The whole issue is that
I will forward that to you anyway.
we don't
so
want
you
an
see it.
engine that's coming with an outdated engine.
Okay.
And
We need
Well,
to-
there is an explanation in that response back from Suffin.
yeah, there's,
Did you read it, Larry? Did you see that?
no, I didn't see it,
Okay.
but I've become in depth with Andy, the salesman. And I says, okay, when are we going, when do you think we'll see this truck? He says the earliest you could possibly see it would be late 2025.
Correct.
He says, and the people that are going to install the equipment won't even give them an appointment until that truck is sitting on their property. He says, so you're probably looking, to be honest, probably January or February of '26. I says, what? Wait a minute, that's 2 years. I says, the original contract was 24 to 26 months, the truck would be delivered. Yeah, but you know how things work in the fire department, you know how things work in fire industry. I said, I know very well. Then I asked him, I said, what size pump's on this truck? I said, all it says here on your specs is pump module number such and such. Well, that's what's in it. I said, 1,500 or 2,000? Oh, I don't know. I says, okay, here's the number. Can you look it up and let me know? Well, that's gonna be determined off of the number of outlets they're in. I says, I've got 24-page repair order here. You guys have designed the truck. I says, what are you gonna do about the X9 motor that's coming in that truck? Well, X9 motor is very dependable. I says, but it's being discontinued. No, they'll never discontinue that motor. I says, if it gets discontinued before our truck comes down the line, it's a $70,000 to $80,000 upcharge. They're not giving you a free XD10. Well, that could possibly be. I said, so when can you tell me what pump we're gonna get? Well, I'm gonna have to get a hold of the people that designed it. I said, well, will you give me a call back? Well, yeah, it should only be a couple of days. That was 3 weeks ago. So, and he informed me that Nick had talked to him the day before, which was the day before the meeting. So, that's where we're at, and it was signed, the contract was signed in June, I believe June... July 5th of '22. So it's already past 24 months, and headed towards being past 25, and we gotta wait another 2 years.
Every manufacturer on the market right now has extended their leeway or lead time on delivery of brand-new custom fire trucks. Every manufacturer. Every single E1, Pierce, Sutton.
Hold on.
Okay.
There's 2 E1s in stock that almost match this truck identically.
No, that's not true. Not identical.
Don't call me a liar, Todd.
I'm not calling you a liar,
You
Larry.
just did. You said I just said not true.
Well,
I said
it's
almost matches identically, except it's got a lot bigger motor in it. And it's got a motor we're not gonna have to pay another 80 grand for. And we can have it in 30 to 45 days.
Don't point at me.
I'm not.
All right. Those were demo trucks, Larry.
They're new.
I know that, but they're demo trucks. I'm talking about brand-new custom trucks that you sit down and build for your community. That's what I'm talking about, the extension.
Is that...
What E1 and Faust Brother and the trucks that you guys were looking at up at Fire Service, they were smart. They put extra trucks in the line because they predicted this kind of stuff happening and communities would need trucks quicker. I'm not opposed to sitting down and look at it. In fact, Chief Monitor and I did go up and have a meeting with Sean personally.
Yeah, we heard that.
And we sat down with him and he took us through those trucks. And they are very nice trucks. There was 2 Faust Brothers there and there's 2 Faust Brother trucks there and an E1 there when we were there.
There is 1 KMI now.
KME. We haven't seen the KME.
And there's 2 E1s, and there's 3 Faust trucks, and that's just in the St. John. You're right. Do we need a custom truck that's built with limo tint on the windows? Do we need a revolving front light that goes down?
Limo tint is standard it's called limo tint, but it's tinted windows on fire trucks for security reasons, so people don't look in there and don't.
Not according to Andy, it wasn't.
Okay.
And your NFPA that everybody keeps referring to doesn't recognize it. They don't even recognize a booster line.
We wanted a booster line for our truck. We did.
Yeah.
It was an extra, yes. for trash fires.
So sometimes, when it's the benefit of one way, we hear, it's according to NFPA or whatever it is, we can't be doing that. But yet, on other rules, we can just say, they don't know what they're
Well,
talking
Larry, 2
about.
years ago, in 2022, we had a different council. We were allotted a certain amount of money to build a fire truck, and that's what we did. We tried to we designed this truck to meet our community's needs, and that's what we did. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, this new board of safety and this new council has a problem with that truck, and that's totally your guys' prerogative. And I work for the council, I work for the commissioners. If you guys decide to change something, it's totally up to you. I have no say-so in the matter. So, if we want to go out and buy 2 Fowles Brothers trucks or an E1 truck, that's the commission and the council's decision. And an ambulance, we have to get an ambulance. The dialogue I've had with council members since that Tuesday meeting was that there will be another meeting, because Mr. Toth came up and offered to get involved in the process, because the township has money.
Right.
Okay? So, as even of today, the conversation, text conversation with Rich Steele was we were going to set up a meeting with Commissioner Stick, myself, the Council Affairs Committee, and Kevin Toth to sit down and discuss the options. And that's where we're at with it.
That would be
To sit here and grill me on a fire truck right now that we built 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, was built by a committee. And we went out to Suppin and sat down with those people and went through everything under a budget that we were told we could use at the time.
Right. Just have some questions.
And your opinion that some of the stuff is not needed is not the same opinion that we thought would be needed for our community. Because we do it every day.
It's not my opinion, it was your boys, the MTFA. They
Who?
said that fire apparatus of fire.
NFPA?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we follow the NFPA standards.
Okay. They don't recognize booster lines anymore.
I know, that was something that we did want to add to our truck
They want
for that use.
you to pull an inch and a half.
No, we're not, that wouldn't be an attack line. That's a trash, that booster line is a trash line. That's why we
a
put it
very
on there.
expensive trash on.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Are we considering purchasing a demo truck now instead of the one that he ordered?
It's not a demo, it's not a demo.
Okay, a different vehicle than the one that they have on the line? Is that what we're doing?
There's talks going
Talk
on.
about it.
Okay, so there's no decision made.
No.
So you're saying that this truck is about to get on the line and begin production? Are you gonna change the engine now? You don't like the engine that's being
That's something-
discontinued?
You might not have a choice.
That's something we have to act on quickly.
So all of this is not decided yet?
No, no, it's not our choice. The manufacturer of the L9 motor and of the 12 are discontinuing those motors. So their engine line will only be 2 instead of 4.
So the one that we thought we were getting, it's not gonna be
Because
there
of
by
how
then?
many engines, when those are sent to this fire company, until the inventory of Cummins is run out of L9s, they will still be building them. When it runs out, sorry, your luck.
So when our truck comes up the line and they're pulling an engine, we ran out of those L9s? So we'll get something else?
We'll get a phone.
Okay.
We'll get a phone call. You wanna spend another $80,000?
They've done that with ambulances as well over the years when, they discontinue big manufacturers like, or big companies like, I can't even remember the name of the company now, McCauley and them, ambulance services, they'll stock up on chassis and then, build them, and then sometimes they'll be obsolete when they actually get them out the door, because a new chassis or a new design has come out. But they'll sell them until they're completely out. And this is what I believe Larry's referring to as the I-9 motor, and we did discuss, L9, I'm sorry, we did discuss that with Andy.
This just came up about,
Yeah, after that meeting, and you guys brought that up, we did have a conversation with them.
So.
And I wanted to say it was
Yeah.
$40,000 upgrade, not a 80.
So,
I'm not positive, you can't quote me on that.
My understanding, what I heard, you said, the contract for this truck was signed in July of '22, and we don't know what we're gonna get when it rolls off the line?
But we know the exact truck we're gonna get.
Well, we don't know what engine it's gonna be running.
Well,
Or what
no, there will be an L9 in it.
No,
You just said they might run off before our
no,
truck
that's
gets...
not guaranteed.
He told us we will get the L9 motor, but what you guys were worried about was it being obsolete when we actually receive it.
No, that's not what we were worried about. We're worried about the upcharge for, you having put that in writing and get it sent to the attorney, that he guarantees that truck will have an L9 motor. Because when that truck comes down the line as a custom build, they don't have L9s to go into it, they ain't gonna be in it,
He told us we are getting an engine with an L9 in it.
as of right now.
Yeah, okay.
But that don't, being what's gonna happen 2 months from now, being specially, we got a two-year lead.
But they have to honor that, Larry, because...
No, they don't, because they don't have the motor. You can't honor something you don't have.
Didn't I just hear him say, well, you know what happens in the fire department? Did you just say that?
That's what they said.
Okay, so it's like we can't rely on their word?
If the part isn't there,
They can't put it in?
they can't put it in, yeah,
So there is no guarantee what we're gonna get at the end?
absolutely.
They promised this, but you know how things are in the fire department, might get something else.
Well, that's like,
And there again, Grace Parker indicated that engine isn't a good engine. I don't know that that's true, but that's what he indicated at town council meeting.
there's, most of your really cheap strapped fire departments, that's what you normally get. When you're looking at a truck, you normally try and put a bigger engine in it so that 10 years down the road, you know, when the motor gets a little bit worn, that it can still go to pump spec and pump and not, because if the motor doesn't have the horsepower to spin the 1,500 gallon or 2,000 gallon minute pump, well then now we've got two issues.
Mr. Chairman, can I read into the record the actual letter that Andy sent us? And I will forward it to you guys, okay?
Go ahead.
I watched your local city meeting the other night and have to say I was caught off guard, and there seemed to be a lot of confusion specifically about the Cummins engines. I figured it might be helpful to clear up some of this for talking points. The truck you have on order that we will be delivering in a little over a year from now will have a Cummins L450, 450 horsepower engine in it. This is the engine, hold on a second. This is the engine that approximately 80% of all pumper fire trucks being supplied to industry currently will or do have in it. The other option is the Cummins X12. This is a bigger motor, requires a larger transmission, and this could still be changed on your truck. Hang on, let me take my glasses off. On your truck, but we will need to know very soon. It will come with an approximately $40,000 in additional cost. Sometime in late 2025 or early 26, cutoff date is yet to be determined, but after your truck will be completed, the Cummins L9 and X12 are being replaced with the Cummins X10 engine, which is an even more environmentally friendly engine. This is driven by the EPA in approximately every 5 to 7 years. The X10 will have more elaborate exhaust that includes additional systems that are not going to be on your truck or any current model truck. We all agree that this is unfortunate, but it's out of our control. Unless something changes, and that is highly unlikely, there will be another new model engine in approximately coming in at 2032. None of this means you will be unable to get service or parts for that engine in your truck. It simply means that new trucks will have the new engine. Number three point, canceling this truck would come with a penalty of approximately $200,000 to $250,000. We simply cannot allow customers to cancel contracts without penalties. We have built new factories, added on to factories, hired over 100 people, and spent money on countless other resources in the name of keeping up with high demand. These decisions are made based on demand and amount of trucks on order. Like many other respected fire manufacturers, we are currently going through the struggles of keeping up with this demand. Hiring, training, parts supply, and getting key vendors up to speed are just a few challenges that have caused Suffolk and many other companies in our industries to fall behind on schedule. This was, and when we had a conversation with Sean, the owner of Fire Service, he agreed they had the same problem in all the industries. Number 4, I know the two of you in the committee worked tirelessly to fine-tune the specs to ensure that you are getting the truck that best fits your community. If you or the council decide that the X12 engine is necessary, there are still ways to get the price of the truck down to help offset that additional cost. Or if you wanted to stay with the L9 and delete some options to reduce the overall price, we can still discuss that. Number 5, I thought it might be helpful to understand what your truck could cost today if it had the same specifications and loose equipment on it. This hypothetical truck with the X10 engine and would cost approximately $300,000 more than your contracted price. There is a lot of information here, and I am happy to answer any questions that you or any other council members may have. Andy Herb, sales from Suffolk. I will forward that to you guys when I get to my computer.
Is it standard over the last 2 decades that it takes 3 to 5 years to get a truck?
What happened was COVID. COVID was a big part of it.
I know it was true with cars, but I know they're kind of getting past that now, so that's why I'm asking.
COVID set everything back because of supply companies, supply equipment. Every big manufacturer is saying the same thing. The big two are Pierce and E1, and they pump out a lot of fire trucks, and they were even reporting how hard it was to get parts. And Pierce is all proprietary. E1 is a Pierce system.
So he states that if the truck was canceled, there'd be a 25% penalty.
No, he said $200,000 to $250,000 penalty.
Yeah, that's 25%.
Okay, yeah, but I wanted to make sure the number was there, not the
Right.
percentage.
And
Yes,
have you read the contract?
I have.
And there's...
That is not in there. No.
Right.
Mhm.
And Andy is a broker.
Yes,
He works out of his house.
and he is a salesman for Suffolk, yes.
Right. And he works out of his home.
Mhm.
So, to throw out that kind of a deal and not mention, in the contract, it does state 24 to 26 months. So, the way I would look at it, and believe me, I haven't been through all the schools that man has, but on the 26th month, that contract is null and void.
Very well, maybe, I'm not the attorney.
So based on that salesman's letter, are we satisfied we're gonna get this engine we were expecting?
No.
I do believe that in that contract, it does make a statement about possible delays, though. It doesn't say due to industry standards and industry backlog. Pretty sure it says that in
3 to 4
somewhere.
years is not, it's
You don't
not
think-
really
Well-
acceptable.
You have the professional behind you, so,
No, I'm sure, and I know that, I sent this to Richfield council people that asked me for it, and that's what they wanted. When
Well-
I was directed to do that, and that's what I did.
think I talked to Rich
I think you as the chairman of the board of safety
today.
did receive it as well.
I think something's gonna happen next week as far as our meeting.
Yeah, I did text Rich, and, I mentioned it would be nice to have it at the station. That way, if anybody wants to go and look at the apparatus that we currently have,
I think
we're right there.
that's gonna be the fact,
Okay.
And
he agreed that would be a good place to do it.
Right.
And any of you that wanna come to that, I'm not doing the inviting, that's Rich and Mary Jo.
I think the biggest disappointing thing with the Suffin is the extended time. you know, we could work out the engine options and whatever, but, you know, the extended time is kind of a real bummer.
I think, I was told that everything's on the table by the council. So whatever the council decides,
I think that
that's
would
where
be,
it's
you
gonna
know,
be.
I think that
Suffolk
would.
is a company that's been around 150 years. It's not a fly-by-night company.
I don't
So
think
it's been
there's
around a
any-
very long time.
There's no doubt as far as
Yeah.
their quality, it just,
Yeah, they sold fire
Time.
trucks to New York, Chicago, you know, over the years, big companies, Detroit, you know, you name it. They have they're a very good reputable
No, I
truck. Their
didn't-
truck
I
is
didn't say
known
they
for.
weren't.
Yeah, I know, I'm just, you know, I gotta try to plug the truck we ordered, Larry, a little bit.
Not really, yeah. I'm worried about because we don't have we have a township truck that sits in the station that, as you just got done saying, is we're having some problems and is gonna have more because it's old. And then we have a pumper tanker that's is that 1993? Or what year's the?
13, 98,
98.
yeah.
So, quite concerned about not having a backup, and, I'm even more concerned not having a backup for another 2 years.
That was a discussion for the past 3 years about the apparatus as well. And the council pulled the trigger on buying the truck in 2022, and of course, COVID hit us and, you know, set everything back. A discussion that was held publicly Tuesday night, and you guys could watch the video, and Bob was there, was towards the end when Township Trustee Toth came up and offered to, you know, spend quite a bit of money to the cause. The used truck that we were looking at from Fire Service, which was the old Munster truck, was gonna cost us roughly around $60,000. So it was mentioned that if we took that $60,000, put it into the township truck, and then the township could sell that truck to the town for, I don't know, $1 or whatever, at that point in time, that would be a good backup truck. We already know the truck, we've done all the maintenance on the truck, and then buy one of the demo trucks from Fire Service, which they are very nice trucks. Like I said, Chief Monitor and I went up there and spent a lot of time with Sean looking at them, and pretty much any one of them would be a very good engine for our community. The truck we built was a rescue engine, so that there is differences, but to replace the truck with a new truck and a new ambulance would set us up very well with a good backup engine, 2 new engines and a new ambulance for a very long time. And with the help of the township coming to the table with, you know, the township guys, they like to pay cash. So, you know, they bought that tanker and they paid cash for it, and they weren't gonna see it any other way. So, you know, we have a unique opportunity to sit down with all parties involved and work out possibly a very good solution for fire apparatus for the next 10, 12, 15 years.
And that's what's on your agenda, Norm? This is what you're gonna be handling next week, you said?
well, it'll be the council affairs, Mary Jo and Rich, myself, Todd,
Charlie,
Charlie,
You
and
mentioned
Kevin
Charlie.
Toth.
So those
Kevin,
decisions are
And
going to
is
be
the
made.
town manager involved in it too?
yes, Jeff was involved, yes.
Yeah, yes, they're coming up.
Okay, so all that's being addressed, okay?
Yeah, it is, we're just waiting for, Commissioner Villalobos, we're waiting for, I offered today to do a poll to see what dates could be best for next week.
Okay, so it's in the works.
Plus, we want Chief Monger there as well. Chief Monger knows these trucks inside and out, and he's in Tennessee right now, climbing around the mountains.
Yeah, no, that's coming up.
Okay, so that's resolved, okay.
Okay, any other questions?
That was equipment we were on.
Okay, so, Lexipol policy updates, basically, can you just kind of just touch over, you know, I mean, we've reviewed them.
Okay,
And,
so you just want to read it by title and then?
Yeah, and then when you get down to, what was that, the
1,000,
let
procedure.
you know, either you or David can explain what we're doing with that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. The Board of Safety Committee that reviews policies met to go over the following policies that you see in front of you, and I'll read them here in a second. These were also forwarded to all the commissioners ahead of time for them to look at. So what we're doing is we're asking for approval for the following. Lexipol Policy 200, which defines organizational structure. 305, the tactical withdrawal. 314, wildland firefighting. 318, hazardous material response. 329, the ride-along program. 332, active shooter and other violent incidents. 400, fire inspections. 403, community fire station visitation program. 610, repetitive motion injuries and training. 702, vehicle and apparatus inspection and testing. 710, department use of social media. 1000, recruitment and selection. 1040, military leave. 1043, member speech expression and social networking. With under recruiting, the commissioners that attended, and the consensus was to make sure that the agility testing procedure the fire department has is mentioned actually in as a policy. So that policy refers to our procedure 700.
Which would be like the testing at St. John,
Which is an agility testing program, that, is approved by the state of Indiana and NFP standards.
Right. It goes above the minimum standard.
Right.
Am I supposed to have number 1,000 in this packet?
You are. You don't have it?
It's MIA?
There's actually,
why I
the procedure we're gonna put in the Lexipol book, because it doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't change, so that would be, so anybody that wants to review the procedure can refer to our Lexipol book, and it's in there.
It's in there, right?
Right.
Just look at that one.
Barb, that's the only change to that 1,000 policy was the addition to naming the actual procedure in there as the procedure. You should have the procedure though, right? You should have 1,000 from a while ago.
The procedure would be the
It's
thing
not in the
that,
packet, that's why. It's
Okay.
it's on this list, but it's not in the packet.
Okay, I'll make sure you get it.
Thanks.
Everybody else does have it, maybe Sandy just missed it.
we brought it back, Larry crashed.
I crashed. Yeah.
So,
And I wasn't even driving. Thank you.
so that basically brings us all up to date.
So the policy review committee approved all the changes on these policies that you just read off.
Yes,
So we're recommending to the board, the full board, to adopt these policies as amended,
yes.
as revised.
Right, and we made sure that the procedures was gonna be in our book, so they'll be there, okay, here's our procedures, they're in our book, so we just wanted to make that.
And you do have it, right? 700, okay. If you don't have it, let me know, and then I'll make sure Sandy prints one out for you.
Any questions?
I don't think so.
Motion?
I know it's a lot of procedures, but
I know, but is the 700
policies,
supposed to be on this list?
No, that's a
That's why-
procedure.
No, no,
It's a
it's a
procedure,
procedure.
not a
That's what I
policy.
thought, I just got confused between which one was which. Okay.
there's a big difference between procedures and policies.
Yeah.
Typically, the Board of Safety does not approve procedures, that's
Right.
day-to-day operations.
Right.
But because of the sensitivity of this testing, you know, the dialogue we had with commissioners was to refer directly to that and make it actual policy.
Yeah, it's a lot of numbers to keep track of, where what is.
Well, that's why building that book that you're gonna have, you know, is gonna be, you know, every time you get something new, it'll be able to plug right in and tear out the old.
Right.
Okay, so once we adopt these policies, when will I get the official copy to add to my book?
After tonight, tomorrow we can send them out to our personnel and then print them out.
Okay.
You guys will get them.
So I'll make the motion to adopt the Lexipol policies as revised, that were read off by
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. President.
Barbara Little?
Yeah.
Okay, did Dave have a question?
Excuse me, go ahead.
For the motion, I'm sorry, you guys went pretty fast on that motion. Could you make certain that the record will reflect as per the agenda for identification of the policies being considered? I want to make sure the minutes show exactly what the policy numbers are.
Okay, that's why I had him read them into the record.
Right.
So the adoption, the motion should be to adopt the policies.
As presented on the public meeting agenda for this evening, as read into the record.
Oh, okay, and this reflects what you just read off, correct?
It does, yeah.
Okay. So, then we will adopt the election poll policies revision,
Norm six.
Yes.
One more thing on Lexipol policy, commissioners, the discussion was held about creating a social media, an upgraded social media policy to make sure there's an official social media site from the fire department and not just the union site. And that was discussed, so that's policy 710 that's in the works. So that will be something coming here in the future. I want that in the record too, please.
that was for the purpose of the chief controlling the message that goes out over his name. That's why we wanted them to have their policy, their social media network, and not rely on the firefighters.
I think that's a good thing.
And Chief Monger and I will be the two that control that policy, or that site.
Okay, other, I have a good other here.
Oh, boy. I do too.
Go ahead first.
I would just like to invite the commissioners to please, any questions you have, any concerns you have about the department, the door is always open for each and every one of you. Please come down, contact me. You all have my number. Sometimes I hear things out on the streets that I could probably help you guys if you just called me or sent me an email or even stopped in and sat down and talked about it. So I'm asking that the dialogue be wide open. Also, after the council meeting the other night, the council would like myself to, okay, you're about to read that?
That's my other.
Okay, and I'll let you read that in too, Norm, but I just want to make sure that you guys know I understood the fact that as of that night, any purchases under the equipment line items obviously will be presented to the commission and for approval prior to, but I would like the commission to put a number on that, because we do have day-to-day operational stuff that we do have to spend money on.
That wasn't discussed. We might be able to, once we get in, this is new to us too.
Okay.
So, I mean, if it needs to be modified, why, it can be.
I mean, like when you said that we spent $2,000 on, that's all that stuff we have to have. I don't want to get caught with, in a trick bag based upon, hey, you spent $400 on toilet paper.
I think $2,000 on coffee that the department
$2,000
really
on
don't
coffee
drink
is not-
coffee
is
beside
probably
me,
bad.
that's extreme.
But there was a whole bunch of other things in that line item. Okay.
So,
Thank you.
when we're all said and done, this is recommended that we read this. We have to amend the agenda and put this on our agenda for the night.
To do what? Are we adopting that?
I'm gonna read it.
Okay, so you're reading it?
This is,
Are we voting on this?
well, we're gonna accept, let me read it, and then, it's all following last week's, what Greg Parker first originally said, as far as, so then, as of today, the safety board was given direction from the Council of Affairs that we approve,
Let's read it into the record.
equipment.
Do we have to amend the agenda first?
I don't know if we.
I didn't receive a copy of that, just to let you know. Nor did the attorney. I did not receive a copy of what you're about to read, so.
This is under other, and we're not taking a vote on this.
Well, we're gonna have to amend the agenda for this.
Isn't that included under other?
That's what, this is other. Well, I mean,
It's already
do
on
we
there.
have to amend the agenda for this, David?
If you're going to take action, you need to amend the agenda. If you're going to read something into the
Well, it's
record.
kinda like we want to, because we have recommendations from the clerk treasurer as far as the policy that we're supposed to follow.
Can't tell you what to do on this one because I never received it. So Larry just handed it to me.
Nor did I, so.
I don't have to.
I know.
So, well, actually, this is something that we was directed to do,
Okay, let's hear it.
and it all stems down to what started when Greg Parker last week started it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna read it, and then when David gets done, he can advise us. As requested by the Council Affairs, the Fire Department is required to receive additional approval by the Board of Safety prior to purchasing products or services. A reminder, a requisition is a request from the department to buy products or services. Each department has previously received a copy of the standard operating procedure for entering a requisition and purchase order. As per the standard operating procedure, the fire department designee will enter a requisition and purchase order, and this is coming from the clerk treasurer. My office can run a report that shows all requisitions entered, and she gave us an attachment to this. The Board of Safety can act on the requisitions presented each month at their meeting. If they approve the requisition, once my office receives that information, we can complete the process of approving a requisition, and it becomes a purchase order. The fire department can then take the information to their vendors and order the products or services. My recommendation, that is the clerk treasurer, would be for the department to return a copy of the requisition report signed by the board president to my office. Okay, and then,
The attachment would be an example of what is pending right now.
correct.
Okay.
Okay, and then, this is another letter that I received because I asked the clerk treasurer to advise us on how we should proceed. And then this is another, if I understood correctly, an additional approved step is required before the fire department can purchase products or services, and then she says, see attached. I have also printed a copy and placed it in the meeting room, and that's what I just read. We may have some overlapping items. I believe a purchase order report is usually provided from the department. But by next month, it should be straightforward. The Board of Safety might consider amending their agenda tonight to include the approval of fire department purchase requisitions, and it should become a monthly business item on the agenda thereafter. So, Mr. Austin, what's your recommendation on this?
Exactly what the clerk said in the last two sentences you read.
So the police department doesn't do this at all? Is that what you're saying?
Approval of so we should put in the agenda?
You should amend the agenda and acknowledge receipt of the requisition procedure from the clerk treasurer, and that you will follow same.
So, we need a motion to amend the agenda, and, what David said.
If you do that, then you can take action on the agenda item. If you don't do that, you don't have an agenda item.
Okay, so now, this is what I need clarification on. She gave us these lists of items, purchase orders.
Okay.
Now, is that a request that you've made?
This
And
was, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave,
Is
I'm
this
sorry.
a purchase order request that you made, and that has not yet been approved?
Right,
And if we don't approve it, you don't get these items?
correct. That's what this new procedure is, or her procedure that she's requesting tonight.
So Council Affairs is imposing on us the responsibility to authorize your expenditures?
Yes, the fire department and the police department receive CCD funds every single year to buy equipment with.
No, this ain't got, this is,
One of the,
well, it's kind of equipment.
yes, yeah, it is, it's exactly what it is.
Yes, I do have to do approval for
Okay,
CCD.
so CCD funds require approval by the Board of Safety to be purchased, but we have never done that before until now.
That's what I'm saying, so
Right.
prior approval, before you make the expenditure, that's what they're directing us to do?
Yes,
Now, in the past, you would purchase the item and then inform us what you purchased.
right.
Now you have to ask us for permission before you make the purchase?
What I gotta do now is present the equipment, whatever was needed, like, those are axes and pipe poles and tools to use on the scene, because a lot of our stuff is old and.
So this is an ask,
Some of it's
you're
broken.
asking for this?
Yes,
And we haven't said yes yet?
no,
And if we don't, you don't get it?
correct.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out. So now we have to amend the agenda to approve these purchase orders.
No, that's an example of what we put in for
That's just an example
recently.
of what we would be working with.
That one is pending right now, nothing's been ordered, it's just a PO. She said that to you as one that's pending, nothing's been bought, nothing's been ordered.
Okay, so there's nothing to vote on to approve right now?
No, just her procedure is.
David, this is the last page here. Okay, so next month, you're gonna come to us with a list of requests, right? For
A
expenditure.
requisition report, just like that.
Right, you're gonna
It'll
come
say-
to us,
Yes,
and so, we're meeting at the end of August. So, you're projecting in the future what you're gonna need,
unfortunately, yeah.
all right? So, you've gotta keep, whatever requests you're making, bandages, you know, sheets, I don't know what you request.
I think
But you're gonna have to have enough on hand, because the next time we meet will be a month further down the line.
I hope that that's not day-to-day supplies. We gotta have those.
Well,
EMS supplies, you know, we have.
Well, that's what I'm asking, are they distinguishing between
They
a
are.
fire truck or bandages?
It's equipment.
Okay, so let me.
No, it says equipment, and it says services and
It says service.
products and services, so
Well,
we can't wait a
We're
whole
not-
month to order
we're not necessarily.
That's why I'm
To
asking for
order,
clarification, because it
paper
says
for our
service.
defibrillators and our monitors and stuff like that. We
That's
have,
that's what I'm thinking. This is gonna be, to implement this is gonna be very difficult if you're gonna have to have then a month's supply until we get to our next meeting.
There will be a.
Otherwise, we'll have to call a special
There'll be
meeting
a
to
dollar
approve,
amount put on it.
you know, stuff.
Anything over 500 mil. Right now, they got the same thing. It's written in there that, right in your general policy, that every other is, if you're gonna spend over this much, you must do this before you can do that.
and that is get a PO from the clerk treasurer, when she monitors that.
Okay, so
So, you know,
she says a requisition is a request to buy products or services. That's what she's asking us to monitor.
so does that also refer to getting a fire truck fixed if it's broke?
Well, that's a product, isn't it? I would think that's a product, right?
So our fire truck breaks down and we can't get it fixed? Unless
That's
we
what
get
I'm saying,
approval by
that-
There's another law in Indiana, it's called the prepayment of claim law, in Title 36. And if there is a need for an expense to be paid or covered, that the town is liable for, it clearly has to pay, and clearly is required to be paid, that payment may be made. Notwithstanding this, this is an accounting review, checkoff policy, and mostly because our budgets are so tight, and the necessity of having tight controls or tighter controls has arisen over time. That's what this is about. You're not violating any laws, and if you need to go buy $2,000 of coffee because it's a necessity, right then and there, and it has to happen, you'll be able to do that. I would then advise that that be a ratified item together with all the other requests or requisitions that are made at the next public meeting.
So who decides whether it's a required or
Right.
necessary expenditure? I mean, is
Well, I think
tires for the
clerk
truck?
No, the clerk treasurer will decide that.
Dave, I'm not willing to put my job on the line based upon that. Because that's up to interpretation of what is a necessity. A necessity, we get a flat tire on one of our engines and it costs, you know, 2 tires on the back of the truck get blown out and it costs me $600, $700 to replace them. You know,
I don't know.
I just violated the rules because I didn't get it approved by the Board of Safety.
Would a boat ramp be considered a necessity?
A boat ramp?
Ramp.
Well, probably not.
Okay. So I think that's what they want us to do, is monitor the expenditures, but we can't interfere with the chief running his department.
No, I don't think it's meant for that. Nobody's gonna question you if you need tires repaired or whatever.
I'm not willing to risk that.
Well, you're
When
gonna.
my job is in jeopardy, I'm not willing to risk that.
Yeah,
I would like to have that spelled out to where I can't have somebody come back later and say, well, this is our opinion that this should have been done.
So,
Well, then you'll follow the procedure, you'll have dialogue with whomever you have to have, and you'll present the proper documentation.
here's my question. If he does run out of something and needs an emergency appropriation or approval, say, we need a quorum as a board to approve that, correct?
If you're gonna come to a public meeting, yes.
So we'd have to have a public meeting posted to approve his request.
If you-
Because we can't vote to spend the taxpayers' money without the quorum, correct?
This is the procedure that has been presented for such.
So if he doesn't have it covered in a monthly projection, something comes up, and he needs our approval, we'd have to convene a meeting, we'd have to publicize the meeting, convene it, so we could have a quorum to make that vote.
See, I'm kind of,
Am I correct?
Yep. Strictly, yes.
Okay.
the way that we have, I think that we need a clarification
I know.
from, the council affairs because this is what the clerk treasurer sent us, and then we also have the Board of Council Affairs telling us to approve the equipment. So I think that there needs to be a clarification between the two of them. Does that make sense?
May I suggest, Norm, board members, this be put on next month's agenda?
Yeah.
And inquiry be made of the clerk treasurer and council affairs committee of your concerns and your need for clarity.
So we'll just table it for a month.
Most of us just got this 8 minutes ago.
Yeah.
All of the things that we're talking about probably would have been vetted in preparation for this meeting. So, none of the law cited to you, by the way, is improper or illegal. Could do everything I just said, and it's happened a lot in the history of municipal government.
overtime.
Okay, so,
Hey Cheryl, can you email me a copy of what we're talking about right now? Because I gave mine to Todd.
I don't have,
You could have it back.
Okay.
I've got Larry's copy.
Okay, so let's just refer that. You read it into the minutes, you read it into the record, and we won't take any action on this until we get,
She's offering, so you'd have it.
Well, then she's not gonna have a copy of it.
If there's further
I was
questions,
gonna make copies right now.
He's making copies.
you might ask the clerk to come to your next
Thank you,
meeting.
Carl.
so,
did you hear that? You might want the clerk here to explain herself
well,
at our next meeting.
We'll have those both.
we'll put a vote, so basically a motion to defer this till the next month.
Why? It's not on the agenda. There's
Do we
nothing
need
to
a
defer.
motion on that,
Well,
or what?
I don't think you completed the, motion to amend the agenda to add it.
There's just no action.
We did not do that.
So
Okay.
there's no action.
Okay. Let me find my, agenda. Okay, we took care of Lexipol, we took care of others. The legal report from Mr. Austin.
I have items that need to be talked about in executive session, including the emergency operations plan, but litigation and personnel specifically. I thought we had that tonight and it didn't happen, so.
Can we schedule an emergency?
If we,
It's gotta be publicized.
right,
Yeah, sometime soon, Norm, if we could get some dates and.
okay.
maybe
Will do.
that's it.
Okay, town council liaisons report, Bob?
I don't have anything other than, like that engine, the thing that I already talked about, that, I heard, from other council members that engine will end up failing, and so I don't know a lot about engines,
That it's gonna fail?
that it's not a good engine. That's what I got, the interpretation I got from Greg and Rich and them at the council meeting.
Well, we're gonna talk about it. So, okay. New building update.
They're pretty much done, waiting on the water project. We went through the punch list last week with them, basically walk around the building and never done this before, to pick out flaws that they need to fix.
That's what a punch list is.
Yeah, they're working on that punch list this week and next week. Cliff has been up there starting the IT stuff, installing the cameras, installing the link between the two buildings, so we'll have a direct link wirelessly, so him and Tim started that, so we heard that potentially the project for the water could start August 12th. They have a pre-approval from IDEM, so they know the severity of it, IDEM is aware of it, so they're moving forward.
So, just remember, advice to you, make sure your punch list is complete, because
We will.
if you don't say anything,
Yep.
it's too late.
I wanna, okay, I believe it was in your meeting. There was a room and it had a machine hanging on the wall. And there was, the machine's plug came in, was plugged into it. And as we're going through it, he says, oh, that plug should have been behind the machine. Joe said that. And I can't,
Which room?
there you go.
We can walk through, isn't it, dryer?
No, it was, it was, it looked like,
The only thing that I can think of is the key box that's in there.
I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Yeah, we can go take a look.
So I'm thinking to myself, if it's that important, it should have been behind it.
Alright.
It was it looked like a fingerprint thing or some electronic.
That's our key box probably.
That might be the sign-in, or the punch-in. Is it for your thumb to go in it?
No, it's a key box, it's a controlled key box, so we know where things go. It'll have like our fuel card in it, the extra keys for squad cars.
Okay, we'll go look.
It's in the squad, or I know what you're talking about. That's the only thing we have on the wall, so, in the whole building right now.
Okay.
What are they trenching out on the ground up there? I noticed tonight they, like, digging holes in the ground?
They're grinding the stumps.
Oh,
That was stump grinding.
okay.
Not us.
It looked like they were trenching.
No, they're just grinding the stumps out to start the water main project.
Is, anybody have any other?
I know.
Go ahead.
I know a year ago, it was brought up about the higher lighting on the back of the Durangos. Is that, I take it that the white car must be a road car. Have they got a thing now that they use instead of, okay.
They'll all have the same lights.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
all of them will have all the same.
You get a new car?
Maybe. Not yet.
Yeah.
You get the new one.
And some still lights.
Yeah, we resolved that. Put new lights in the back.
All right, that's it. Okay, public comment? Once?
Here we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Terry Broaders, 14513 Morse. Just wanted to come up here and touch bases on a great amount of conversation on a lot of very important things, and I think everybody had really great points on these last items, the budget items, and how our fire chief would have to go through the requisites and the procedures for each and every expenditure. I think Mr. Villalobos brought up a great point that some of the expenditures that both of our public safety departments go through on a day-to-day basis are for public safety. And in fact, that, like, let's take, for example, an axe. Well, if they break an axe on site, well, of course, if they don't have one to back that axe up, they gotta go get one. And I know that's at best $100, maybe $300 for a fire axe, right? But at the same time, that actually got to be put back on the truck that day, that hour, right? We need to make sure that the truck is ready to go back out on the street. So when we talk about requirements for expenditures, I've worked in public schools, I've worked in multiple different districts, and there was always a limitation on how much you could spend before you got board approval. In emergency situations, the boiler went out in January, you didn't need board approval, you got the boiler fixed to warm the kids up. There's always those certain aspects to the budget. But I think when we talk about every dollar has to be approved, when we talk about every month having to have everything listed and purchasing months in advance to make sure we don't run out for that requirement, I think hopefully in your discussions coming up, Mr. Chairman, that an allowance of everyday items, of everyday costs. And then, of course, when it's an emergency tool for a truck, there should really never be an approval, should we get the tool on the truck, because if he needs to leave the station within the next hour, and he doesn't have that tool to back that broken one up, well, people could get injured, people could die, people could suffer, families, the public. So I think when it comes to our public safety departments, I hope that you guys will take in consideration in your future meetings that it's public safety that is requiring them to purchase some things. And I do agree, controls on public dollars are so very important today. I would never disagree with that. But I also believe that public safety should be our first and foremost when it comes to our two departments sitting here. I hope that you'll take that in consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comment twice, public comment 3 times. I declare the meeting adjourned at 8 p.m.
Meeting.